Hey guys, it's Max. We just got in the brand new Beats Studio Buds, and today we will be comparing it to the AirPods Pro and the AirPods 2 to see is it worth spending the extra money or how much of an upgrade is it if you already have AirPods. And we're not only going to compare the sound quality and features, but also things like active noise cancellation, transparency mode, microphone quality, comfort, and more. Now, as I get these out of the box, let's talk about prices. These come in at $150, which seem cheap for Beats. Now, of course, the AirPods 2 with the wireless charging case comes in at $200, but you can now get those for about $160. And AirPods Pro, you can get them as low as $190 right now instead of $250. We'll leave links down in the video description for the best prices to all of these. So at those prices, it makes these new ones maybe a little bit of a tougher sell than what you initially look at with the MSRP prices. Now, I got the case out of the box. It does seem a little bit larger than I expected. It does also have some weight to it. So if we compare it to the AirPods Pro case, it is longer, it is also taller, and it does seem like it's a little bit thicker as well. And the difference is even bigger if you own the original AirPods. Those are even smaller and thinner than the AirPods Pro. Let's do a quick pocket test. Shove these in. All right, I definitely feel them, and these pants are a little bit tighter. And let's see if they can fit into the pocket watch pocket. Well, got them in. It is a little bit tight. Definitely better than some other alternatives, but not as good as these. Yeah, the AirPods Pro definitely seem thinner, you could tell. Now, one cool thing is that Beats is finally starting to use USB Type-C instead of Lightning, so it is more universal. I really like that. And one thing I have to point out is just how cheap this case feels and looks. You actually can see the seam of the plastic when it was injected molded right in here. That is interesting for a Beats product or a product by Apple. You could tell that this is a budget product, but the case itself feels like a case for maybe a pair of $50 wireless headphones. And another way you could tell that these are budget earbuds is the fact that there's no wireless charging like you have with these other two. Now, if you don't need wireless charging, instead of $160, you could probably pick these up for about $109 with our link below. Now, I use wireless charging all the time for my earbuds. Let me know if you guys actually care about that or not. Now, there's one thing that I was really excited for with the new Beats Studio Buds, and now that I looked further into it, they are being kind of sneaky, and that is the battery life. These things are rated for 8 hours, and I was thinking, man, 8 hours with active noise cancellation, that's amazing. The AirPods Pro, they're rated 4.5 hours, and of course the AirPods don't have that. They're rated for 5 hours without it. But when you look further into it, if you enable the active noise cancellation, you go from 8 hours down to 5 hours. So you lose 3 hours right there compared to going from 5 hours to 4.5 with the AirPods Pro. Now, the same thing goes with the case. Both AirPods are rated over 24 hours with the case included. That's with active noise cancellation on the Pros. And with the Beats Studio Buds, you go from 24 hours down to 15 with active noise cancellation. So no, these are not battery life monsters. Now, you also don't get the H1 chip, and we'll talk about the limitations without it in just a bit. But let's go ahead and pop it open, and I want to see if we still get that pop-up. Yes, we do. Beats Studio Buds, let's hit connect, so you can still pair it very easily. Now let's go ahead and pull one of these out. Okay, that is actually a very strong magnet. I was not expecting that. Wow. Okay. I don't think I've ever felt magnets that powerful. And look at that, this is pretty small. This is one thing that intrigued me with the Beats, just how compact it is. And of course, we don't have that long stem, so barely anything sticks out of your ears. And a lot of third-party alternatives, if they don't have a stem, they have a really big bud, a lot of stuff that's sticking out. So I'm excited to hear how they sound and also how the microphones pick up without that stem, see how the sound quality compares. Let's go ahead and put these in my ears. I made sure to have it in off mode here, so I'm not gonna hear the noise cancellation just yet. So they do stick out a little bit, but not that much. And one other interesting thing is, for the controls, there are actually buttons on these. It's not a touch surface. Now that could be a good thing if you want it to be more reliable, but when I press in, it actually pushes the bud in my ear more so. So I guess it's a win or lose. Now I'm gonna pull these out. I'm gonna put my AirPod Pros in, and one thing I absolutely love about the AirPod Pros is on the stem, you actually have the surface that you press, and you hear an audible click. Now for controls, this is my all-time favorite. It's reliable, it is very easy. With the original AirPods, if you guys have these, you actually have to just tap on the surface itself. It's fairly reliable, but it's the same kind of thing where you're pushing it into your ear more, and then sometimes it won't pick up, so I have to redo the command. And now let's talk about comfort. Surprisingly, these don't seal in my ears as much as I expected. I'm not getting a super, plugged ear type of feel that I would with some other alternatives, but of course you still get a little bit of that, and I don't know if Apple maybe changed the design a little bit to reduce that, but with the AirPods Pro, they actually have this vent, so when you pop them in, you actually feel a plugged ear kind of a feel, and all of a sudden you feel like this little release, and it releases the pressure, and it makes it feel more like earbuds that don't seal in your ears. But of course, the original AirPods, as long as they fit your ears, these are the most comfortable. They don't go into your ear canal, they just sit there and rest, and you don't get that kind of a plugged feeling. Now, of course, I will be talking about long-term comfort in my full review, so if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys are subscribed. That also will help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers before the end of the year. That would be awesome. Now, let's go ahead and talk about active noise cancellation. This is something that most new headphones, especially higher end ones, have to have. I'm gonna start out with the AirPods Pro. I mean, I use these pretty much every single day. Bam, the active noise cancellation kicked in. My ears don't feel plugged. And that AC is on right now. It's super hot outside. Most of it is gone. Most of that sound is gone. Just the higher end kind of vent noise, the air coming through the vents I can hear, but the low end rumble is all gone. It's not the best noise reduction. The new Sonys that are more expensive, those are definitely better, but they do a good job. Now, this is the moment of truth. We know the original AirPods don't block anything out at all. Let's try these out. And you know what? Just even without the active noise cancellation turned on, these are blocking out more so than the AirPods without active noise cancellation turned on. Not as much as with it on, but just because there's no vent there, and maybe these ear tips might also be bigger. I know Apple said they redesigned them. Now, moment of truth. Let's go ahead and enable active noise cancellation. Okay. Whoa, my voice got higher. That is that is weird. My voice, I still hear it, but the low end got taken out. Let me take a listen to that vent. All right, guys, this is crazy. So this has taken out more of the low end rumble than the AirPod Pro. Not as much of the high end. I hear the high end wind coming out a little bit louder, but that low end, it is taking more out than the AirPods Pro. And that's probably why the low end of my voice is gone too, where it isn't with the AirPods Pro. Now, the next thing is the transparency mode. That is something that really matters to me. AirPods Pro are the best earbuds in the market for transparency mode. It literally sounds almost like not having anything in. That vent sounds so natural. My voice, Angelica, go ahead and say something.
Hey, what's up?
You sound exactly natural. All right, this is where I think these Beats are not gonna be able to compare. Huh, okay. Angelica, go ahead and say something.
Hey, what's up, Max?
I mean, you sound natural, but you sound much quieter. And that vent sounds slightly staticky, and my voice sounds like I'm much quieter than I actually am. It sounds nothing like the AirPod Pro. This is a huge difference. I honestly did not expect these to be this bad in transparency mode. And that has me wondering, are the microphones just as terrible as that transparency mode? So let's go ahead and pop these in and we'll compare the microphones between the original AirPods or the AirPods 2, the Pros, and these new Beats. This is the microphone quality that you can expect from Apple's AirPods 2. And this is the microphone quality that you can expect from the Beats Studio Buds in a room with some HVAC noise. And this is the microphone quality with Apple's AirPods Pro in a room that has a fair bit of HVAC noise. And now let's finally compare the sound quality. I'm super excited to hear these out. We are gonna start out with our classic iconic MaxTech song that you guys begged us to bring back. We're gonna start out with that, and we're gonna start out with the AirPods. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to all three. You guys will see a super cut of that. You guys can hear the song along with me, and I haven't listened to these in a while, so I'm excited to hear these as well. I remember they were super loud. All right, guys. Well, wow. First off, yes, the AirPods get loud, and they have to because they don't seal into your ear. If there's outside noise, it has to combat that, which I love loud earbuds, but it's not good for your ears. I have tinnitus already. AirPods Pro definitely sound better quality, but surprisingly the bass isn't as deep as AirPods. The highs are a lot better, mids are also better. Now these, the new Beats, first thing I noticed in the vocals, they're not as bright, they're not as clear sounding. That was first a disappointment. But then when the bass kicked in, man, the bass goes deep. It sounds good. Definitely these are Beats earbuds. I really liked how it sounded in this song. I did wish for a little bit more highs though. So let's go ahead and flip over to our second track. This song has a bunch of instrumentals, has some lower bass, some highs. It's a really good track for hearing the sound stage. There are some sweeps in there. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, well, that was very interesting. Of course, bass, you got a ton of it. A lot of bass, it's deep, it sounds good. It is a little overpowering though. And the highs, they actually sounded surprisingly good. They sounded accurate. I would like to EQ these, honestly. With the other ones, I like the AirPod Pros, I like the balanced sound. Bass is a little bit too substantial, and then the highs need to be pushed up a little bit. And with the Beats app, it does not let you do it. So if you're using Spotify, you can go in there and do some tweaks in there, but there's no system-wide EQ for these. But surprisingly, it sounded good. There was no distortion there at the end where we had that sweep with other instruments coming in. With the AirPods 2 at full volume, there was a little bit of distortion. AirPods Pro was great. I do wish that the Beats gave us a little bit more volume. Not that you need it because the seal is so good, just because I like my music loud. But overall, that was good. Let's go ahead and switch over to the last track. This is where these Beats could fall apart if they're not able to distinguish between the different instruments that are there. Of course, we're choosing these songs so that you guys can listen along with us. If we chose other music, you guys wouldn't be able to because of copyright. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, okay, another surprise. Wow, those did a lot better. I will say AirPods 2 sucked. I was listening to this song, it sounded terrible. With rock, when you have all those instruments, you have the synth in the background, the synth was getting lost, vocals are getting blended, it sounded harsh. This rock by far just does not sound good with these. A lot better with the AirPods Pro. Very well balanced. I could hear the separation of instruments, no distortion or anything, sounded way better. But man, the Beats on the other hand, I thought these were gonna do terrible. I do wish that the highs were a little bit more colored, but other than that, the bass was tight. I thought it would be maybe a little bit, I don't know, just overpowering, but with the drums there, different layers of drums, it sounded great, and I could still hear the synth in the background and the vocals. So as far as different instruments, they were not being blended together, and I did appreciate the extra bass there. So for rock, these are the best. I was honestly surprised by how well they did. Now, another thing that Angelica pointed out to me is that with the Beats, you said you couldn't hear anything at all, even with this last track? No? Nothing? Okay, so with the AirPods, you hear a ton, right? Everything you can hear. And you're about, what, 6 feet away from me or so? With the AirPods Pro, you still hear a lot, right? You hear it.
A little bit. With the Beats, no.
but the Beats you hear nothing. Well, I guess that makes sense if there's no valve to get the pressure out, and they seal in very well. I did swap to the larger ear tips before I did the music test and the active noise cancellation test. Yeah, so if you don't want people to hear your music, that's another bonus. And of course, they do not get as loud as the AirPods Pro, probably about on par with things, you know, headphones like the Galaxy Buds or the new Sony XM4s. So overall, what is my verdict? Well, I don't know how the microphones sound. You guys heard that, so make sure you guys commented below. I haven't heard that yet. But as far as sound quality, it is better than I expected. And if the bass is a little bit too strong in some genres, you can always turn that down in a lot of different apps. You can kick the highs up, but they are fairly accurate. There's some good separation of instruments. I was not expecting that. Not a lot of sound leakage. The active noise cancellation was better than I expected as well. Ambient mode sucks. Build quality is not good, but they're brand new for 150 bucks. I'm sure in the future the price will go down, and once again, they're linked down below. So they did better than I expected. I wish they had wireless charging. I know if I switch over to using these, I'm gonna definitely miss that, but at least it has USB Type-C. So which one would I buy? If these are $250 and these are $150, I would go for these. Now, I still have to test long-term comfort. That'll be in the review. But at $190 versus $150, that makes it a tougher choice. With these AirPods, you do have the H1 chip, so they are gonna switch instantly to other devices as you pick them up, or if you get a phone call on your phone, it'll switch instantly. You have the iCloud pairing, which is nice. If you're connecting and watching movies, you're gonna get the spatial audio and the Atmos sound, which is great. So you have a lot of extra features with these software features that you don't get with the Beats. But if you don't care about that and you care about money and you like more bass, these Beats actually exceeded my expectations. So there you guys go. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Hit that subscribe button above if you guys want to help us reach 1 million subscribers before the end of the year. We would greatly appreciate it. Check out those videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next video.